Topic class. Today I have a Union soldier with me, and he's going to answer our questions that we've been wondering for like 200 years now. Where did R. E. Lee surrender to Grant on April 9, 1865?
He surrendered on the front porch of the Appomattox courthouse.
Did he just walk up to the courthouse and surrender, or did he have like a specific way to do so?
Pretty much.
So he just walked up.
Yeah.
Okay. What is a civil war? Can you explain it in like details?
Well, okay, a civil war is a war where there's two sides, maybe even three sides, of one country divided because of some issue, and they go to war because of that issue. In this case, slavery was the main issue.
What did the southern states do when they seceded from the Union?
They formed the Confederate States of America, which branched off from the rest.
So like one branch of America just branched off and be independent.
Yeah.
What were the groups of people called that campaigned against slavery?
They were called abolitionists because they wanted to abolish slavery completely.
Why did the eastern part of Virginia rely on slave labor?
Because that part was more agricultural rather than technological or any business-like things. So they produced a lot of crops, so they needed slavery to do that manual labor.
What was the secret accepting route used by slaves to escape to the North called?
Harriet Tubman built the Underground Railroad to help lots of slaves escape from their owners.
Do slaves just go underground one day and they just like escape?
Yep, there's just an underground tunnel.
General Robert E. Lee defeated Union troops at where? Where did he defeat the troops?
The defeat happened at Fredericksburg, Virginia.
Where did the most important sea battle of the Civil War take place?
It happened near Norfolk and Hampton, that area.
Right. The capital of Confederacy was. What was the capital of the Confederacy?
That was Richmond, Virginia.
Where was the first battle of the Civil War fought?
That was fought in Manassas, Virginia.
What were three Civil War issues? You already told me slavery was one of them. What is the other two issues?
Yeah, there's slavery, and then there's states' rights because the states wanted more rights, and there's also preservation of the Union because they wanted to keep the Union together.
What was the first battle between ironclad ships during the Civil War? Ironclad.
It was the Monitor versus the Merrimack.
What state was founded as a result of the difference in feeling about slavery among Virginians?
That was West Virginia.
What statement did the Emancipation Proclamation make?
It released all slaves in the Confederate States, so they were now free to go.
Who played a major role in the Battle of Bull Run Creek?
That was Thomas Jackson, also known as Stonewall because of his cold stare.
Who accepted the command of the Confederate Army?
That was Robert E. Lee.
The Civil War began in what year?
1861 in April.
Who established the Underground Railroad and was called a conductor?
Like I said earlier, Harriet Tubman was the one who started the Underground Railroad.
Who was the abolitionist and led a raid on Harper's Ferry?
John Brown led that raid to prove a point.
Can you give us like his like personality and his view on slavery?
He did not like it at all.
Was he a violent man?
Yes.
Who was the president of the Confederate States of America?
Jefferson Davis.
Who was the president of the U.S. during the Civil War?
That was Abraham Lincoln.
Who led the slave revolt against plantation owners in 1831?
Nat Turner.
Well, that's all the questions I have for you today.
Alright.
Thank you for
Agape class. Today I got a business owner here from the Reconstruction area here to answer some questions that we've all been wondering. Alright, starting off here, what was the Wade Davis Act?
He required ex-Confederate men to take an oath.
Yeah, and did it end up passing?
No, Abraham Lincoln let it die in a pocket veto.
Did Lincoln offer to forgive the South?
Yes, he offered pardons to anyone who swear under oath.
What about military and government officials?
No,
Why was the Reconstruction necessary?
because the South was left a mess after the Civil War because of all the destructions.
What was the Freedmen's Bureau?
It was the first federal relief and it helped over 250,000 war refugees.
What were some of the black codes?
Some of the black codes: curfews, land restriction, vagrancy, and labor contracts.
How did Johnson's impeachment play out?
He avoided impeachment by just one vote.
Who were the carpetbaggers?
They were Northern Republicans that moved south.
What about the scalawags?
They were former Whigs who opposed secession.
What happened in the Texas versus White case?
It was illegal for any state to secede, and it has support from the federal power.
Why was tenant farming considered an upgrade to sharecropping?
Because instead of just farming, they decided to rent the farm, and allow them more control.
Why did planters have such trouble finding workers?
Because no one wanted to work on an open field on a hot day.
What was a farming change that was made in the South?
Merchants arrived and they set up shops.
Was tenant farming considered an upgrade to sharecropping?
Instead of just farming, they rented it, and which it allowed them more control.
Why did planters have such trouble finding workers?
Because no one wanted to work on an open field on a hot day.
What was a farming change that was made in the South?
Merchants arrived and they started setting up shops.
What were merchants?
A new wealthy class of Southerners.
What was the cycle of debt?
People didn't have enough money from their sharecropping to pay their rents.
What was the KKK?
The KKK was the Ku Klux Klan, and they were rogue people who pledged for revenge against Southerner enemies.
What did the Enforcement Act of 1870 achieve?
It banned any use of terror or force to prevent people from voting because of their different in race.
What was the Solid South?
It was a new bloc of Democratic voters returning to power.
And lastly, what was the success and a failure of Reconstruction overall?
The success is that the Union is restored, and the failure is that many people remain in the cycle of poverty.
Well, thank you. That's all the questions we have for today.
No problem.